Hello.
Hello.
Chat says
The
this
chat
is
was
real.
being brutal. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Oh
they
my.
were saying, they were like, Vaush is interviewing Vaush. I'm not gonna lie, that kind of made me laugh.
Yeah, sitting on the empty chair, I think.
Yeah,
probably.
yeah.
I've gone crazy. The
Yeah.
building's empty. Oh, please introduce yourself.
Oh, which camera am I looking? Okay, hello guys. My name is ArianaJasmine. I go by ArianaJasmine on Twitch. I've gone live with Vaush a couple of times, but I'm a little bigger on TikTok and Instagram. I've been focusing a lot on the Middle East recently, but I do talk about everything progressive politics, so thank you for having me.
Oh God, absolutely.
Yeah,
you know?
it's so nice to meet IRL too.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean,
Yeah.
it's rare we get the opportunity, especially since I don't go to TwitchCon. Wait, do you go to TwitchCon?
No.
Okay, yeah. No, who would go to TwitchCon? That's losers over there.
I'm a little too cool for that. I'm just kidding.
No, you're not kidding.
No.
Yeah, it's genuinely rare to get the opportunity. I mean, it's election season, of course, and I'm really happy that PV's provided the opportunity for us to get out here and touch grass. But you, I don't know how to publicize this, so maybe I shouldn't front it. But you did some wacky grass touching yourself recently, no?
What are you talking about?
When your little excursion over to your little up and about, is that like known?
What?
I can't tell if you're like baiting me or you're.
No, I have no idea what you're
Well, you went to
talking
Qatar.
about. Oh yeah, no, everyone knows.
Oh,
that. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm like sweating over here. Yeah, I don't know if you're giving me like no.
I didn't know what you were talking about.
Okay, well, you told me that while we were driving, and it was the coolest thing that I've ever heard. So
cool.
if you could please share.
Yeah,
I don't want to give a shitty secondhand version of it.
Of course, no, you're fine. So there's a girl, she's dubbed the youngest journalist in Gaza. Well, she was. Her name is Lama Jamous. And she basically just kind of took a camera and a microphone and she started speaking into it. And she did journalism and it was really cool. And her father reached out to my content creator friend and was like, we need to get out of Gaza because they were stuck in Gaza. They had no way out. And my friend and I, we fundraised about $100,000 for them. And we evacuated her 3 siblings, her grandmother, her father, and her mom. And it was an insane 4 months. We were like going back and forth. There were moments where we thought it couldn't happen. There was a moment where the father had to stay back in Gaza and the family, we had to smuggle the family through before we could smuggle the father. And that was also like a huge contention point within the family. Like we had to separate them for a couple of weeks. It was a lot. And so recently I flew out to Qatar. Well, Qatar was my midpoint, but I flew out to Cairo to go meet them for the first time. And we were initially very excited to see them, but once we got there, we realized that it was actually like not a very happy moment because they basically had gotten a place to stay at. And the father told us, and he was like, yeah, I'm not planning to stay here long because we're gonna go back to Gaza. And none of us had the heart to tell them like, you're not gonna go back, you know what I mean? So it was tough. It was like you could see the pain. Like they had very visibly, like physically lost weight. It was tough, but I'm happy we were able to get them out.
Jesus, that's genuinely insane.
Yeah.
What the father said, it reminds me. I saw these photos once of there were Palestinians who, after being exiled during the Nakba, they still have like the old-timey house keys that they say like I will go back there once.
Yeah.
I mean their houses probably don't exist anymore. Like symbolically they'll return.
Yeah. It's so sad.
Incredibly tenacious, I have to say. Very sad.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they made it out.
I'm very glad too. They're not necessarily happy about it, but I think in the long run they will see the value in. I mean, not the value, I guess, for lack of better terms, you know.
The value in not getting mulched by
exactly.
J-Man.
I mean, they're considered to be one of the lucky ones. Yesterday alone, there was the Al-Mawazi massacre where 25 people were killed, 50 people were wounded in an area right by where Red Cross had set up camp. And they told these people to go there to refuge because they told them it was a safe zone, and it wasn't. They had multiple airstrikes. This was yesterday while we were coming to this event. And it's the Flower Massacre, the Mawazi Massacre. You know, the healthcare system is completely plummeting. And I kind of want to take this back to Jamal Bowman. Like, I don't think there's any perfect politician in American politics. Like, I can point at any politician and say, yeah, that person has done something that I don't like. But when I genuinely look at Jamal Bowman, I'm like, okay, this man has for the most part, really been based as fuck in a lot of his like viewpoints. You know what I mean? He is pro-Palestine. He is pro-taxing billionaires. He is for the climate change bill, like the climate catastrophe bill. I forgot what he calls it exactly. But, you know, it's so important to keep federal politicians like that in place, in my opinion, because there's so little few of them. There's like, what, 18 progressives right now?
God, and even then, yeah, like fair weather sometimes. It's unfortunate because I think we're always more inclined to be critical of people adjacent to us, so we nitpick at details when it comes to people like Jamal Bowman or anyone else. Like I've done this as well. I've complained about AOC or Ilhan Omar or whatever, but then you look at like anybody else in the space, and they're all these shiftless corporate ghouls who get like paid into their office. They're going to be like a lobbyist when they retire from Congress, you know, and I mean. It's not just a difference of policy or character. There's like a fundamental difference between people who get in because they believe in something and people who get in because the material forces of capital and power accumulation just push them up there and they sit there and then they leave. You know?
It's really and it's really sad because I think people like you and I knew the scope of what lobbying was like in American politics, but I think the average American didn't really know or didn't know to what extent, because I'm surprised people are talking about, I feel like I'm talking hella loud. I can hear myself echoing.
It does echo a lot in here. Yeah, I mean, as long as the mic gets it fine.
We can literally hear ourselves like echo into like.
It's like the feedback headphones you get at studios.
I know. You have to like ignore it. But what was I saying?
Oh, about Americans and lobbying, their understanding of.
So like, for example, there's a book called the Israel Lobby, or yes, I believe it's the Israel Lobby. I read it when I was like in middle school and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. But I'm glad that the average American is finally waking up to the fact that lobby money really controls a lot of our politicians. It's just how our politics works. It's how it rotates.
It reminds me, there's I don't know if one would call it a meme, but the idea of like, we have corruption in America, we just call it lobbying. And I think there's like a bell curve on this, because at first I think when you're like a juvenile idiot, you think like, yeah, man, fuck the system. And then you get a little smarter and you think, no, lobbying and corruption are completely different actually. These are meaningfully, and then you get a little smarter. It's like, wait, no, actually they really do serve the exact same social function. It's just the extent to which it's normalized and how you apply it.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, for one, like, corruption is usually not that transparent, though sometimes it is. In some countries, like, it's pretty obvious what's happening. Lobbying is rarely transparent. I mean, we've Citizens United, for example, as an example of like a very recent effort to obfuscate the relationship of money in political affairs and where it comes from and what has to be disclosed. And when you look at all of it in aggregate, I don't like the conspiratorial mindset. I don't like looking at this. I don't like looking and going like, yeah, But I think it's not conspiratorial to say, like, concretely, right? And you go at this from a Marxist perspective, right? The interests of the capital class are made manifest in this system. And what's happening right now in New York 16 is just the most naked example of it I've basically ever seen. It's like, this is literally like the most clear cut, we need to get rid of this guy. Like, pour $1 billion into Latimer.
Yeah, 16 million. What is it up to now, 20 million?
I think it's at 20 million now. It is definitely the most expensive primary ever.
It was 16 million a couple days ago. I think we're talking about 16 million. I mean, can you just imagine what that type of money could do for New Yorkers alone? 16 million just poured into the communities and like public schools and food banks and stuff like that. It's just wild.
It's insane because it's also, people, I think sometimes people think like, okay, 16 million's a lot, but like, Elon Musk is worth 200 billion. So where's why doesn't he just give $1 billion or whatever, right?
Right.
And what a lot of people don't understand, the way money gets tied up in politics and PACs is that like money that goes into a PAC is like raw money. It's not investment. It's not like shares or bonds or dividends or a portion of ownership of anything. It's just raw money thrown into the void. And in a lot of cases, like, there's a reason this is the most expensive house race ever, right? Like, fronting this kind of money usually is insane because a lot of the money that gets spent isn't even on the front end like this. It's like back end, if this happens, then my company will do business here, or like we'll open up a new franchise in this location. It's usually like, I don't want to say it's corruption, but it's you know, wheeling and dealing, right?
Yeah.
It's not normally this blatant, and I think a lot of that, honestly, is because since this is being fronted through APAC, there's not as much that can be done with New York 16 and like, we'll open like a defense contractor weapons manufacturing plant here.
Yeah.
Like, there's not as much of like...
You can't really hide it as well.
Yeah, you can't wheel and deal. So it's like, yeah, fuck it, $1 billion, 10 billion, go for it.
It's just wild. And like, also, can you imagine if, in like chat, I want you guys to, this is so, I haven't like, I've never streamed without reading chat, so I feel like they're probably flaming the shit out of us right now.
Yeah,
I know. It's like, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but please be nice. I'm just kidding. But can you just imagine what it would be like if it was, for example, like Afghanistan? Like AIPAC was like ran by a, not ran by, but had the political interest of a Muslim majority country.
Oh, well, I mean, the closest we would get
it'd be like Sharia law is taking over America.
The closest we would get would be like Saudi Arabia, but even then, American politicians are ashamed of Saudi Arabia. They just don't talk about that.
Yeah, they don't talk about it.
They just try to like, you know, like let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
But with Israel, you know, it's all loud and proud. I mean, like Latimer, I guess, being the evident and immediate example, but then you have people like Brian Mast, you know, the vet with the prosthetic legs, you know.
Oh, he was the one that was wearing the IDF uniform.
Yes, that lunatic, the fake IDF uniform. He fucking bought it off Alibaba or whatever.
Yeah.
Psycho.
So
he was talking about killing them all in the.
Yeah.
No one talks that way for Saudi Arabia. There's just not that
they don't. You know, the PR on Saudi Arabia is actually insane because Saudi Arabia is like not this. I mean, I don't want to fearmonger, but like, as a Middle Eastern woman myself, like, would I go to Saudi Arabia and just like do stuff on my own? Probably not. But like, they've done so much PR around Saudi Arabia that most people don't even know about like the realities that Saudi Arabia actually like holds. I think
the
it's
slave
crazy.
caste. Yeah, oh my God. I remember when I flew, I did a vacation to Barcelona recently, and I saw in every airport that I went to outside of America. So no, I didn't see it in Seattle or Minneapolis, but in Frankfurt and Munich and the Barcelona airport, fly Emirates, the Air Emirates airline. And it kills me too, because it's straight out of the 50s. Like the photo, it's like this really handsome, almost like Soviet propaganda, like really handsome white man and a white woman, you know, dressed in like tailored like 50s clothing or whatever. And it's like you are selling the fantasy of like a wealthy French family going to Beirut, you know, before the...
It's crazy. I literally went to, okay, so crazy story. I know we're getting off topic, but
please.
I was born and raised in America, but in 8th grade, I lived in Iran for a year because my parents had this amazing idea that it would be great for me to see Iran. Easily the worst year of my life. But coming back from there, we spent 2 weeks in Dubai, and like my dad, like we were broke, okay? Like I'm not talking about like the nice excursions, like Dubai excursions, like we were kind of in a sketchy ass neighborhood. Like it was a little weird, you know? And it was like 3 a.m. and I told my dad, I was like, hey, I'm really hungry. So he was like, okay, let's walk to KFC. And I will never forget it. Like this image of Dubai that they sell you is a farce, because we were walking through the street and it's like, first of all, indentured servitude everywhere. All of Dubai was literally created by like modern day slavery. All of Qatar was made by modern day slavery.
They all live in the outskirts and like slums.
They all live in the outskirts, and what they do is they go to like countries like India and they're like, hey, if you come, like, you know, if you come to our country and you help build our country for 5 years, we'll give you permanent citizenship and you'll get paid and all that. So they sign these papers. They don't ever give them like the citizenship or anything. So they illegally come to Dubai, they're working, they never get paid, they never get their papers. A lot of them die on the job because we're talking about Middle Eastern desert heat, and they're working like these insane construction, like, you know, intensive jobs.
In Qatar, a ton of people died during the construction of the World Cup.
Yes.
Yeah, like
the World Cup
like
was
over
a disaster
100.
in that sense, where they built what, 7 stadiums?
Yeah, because all their like the oil funds, you know, it's just crazy that we have space satellites, and slavery is still the most economically viable way of getting stuff built in a desert.
It's crazy.
Why?
Also, like, if you look, I'm sorry, I'm a Dubai hater. Call me, I'm a certified Dubai Emirates hater, okay? But The infrastructure in Dubai is so bad. So you know the palm that they've created? It's like a palm right outside.
The artificial
Yes, the artificial
islands?
palm. Yeah. So what they did is they took sand from the bottom of the ocean, they piled it on top of each other so much until it created this palm, but since it's ocean sand, it's sinking. So every year it sinks a couple of inches more and more and more. And they don't know how to fix it.
It's not a fucking island.
Yeah,
it's just sand. They just piled sand.
It's piled sand from the bottom of the ocean. And like, of course that was gonna go bad.
That's how they built the dock outside of Gaza as
well. Are you serious?
No, I'm joking, because it broke. I know.
Oh my God, the dock on Gaza, we could talk about that too.
Well,
that was crazy.
There is a parallel too, like directly with the labor stuff, because Palestinians in Gaza are also given like vouchers to do work in Israel, usually for lower pay, for more menial work. You know?
That's true. A lot of the Zayu influencers that are in like on Twitter and stuff like that, or TikTok, they're like, oh, Palestinians are really happy. My Uber driver in Israel was a Palestinian and he was happy to drive me to my destination. I'm like, yeah, bitch, what the fuck? You guys would probably like attack him if he didn't want to drive you. What are you talking about? Palestinians are literally treated like subhuman in Israel, and they like to create this narrative that they're happy and they're just a part of the civilization, which is not true. Also, not to mention that Ethiopian refugees in Israel were getting sterilized for a while without them even knowing they were getting sterilized.
The wild thing to me, I guess, is just because Israel has suffered, I think, from like a dual propaganda mission, where there are people in Israel who really hate Palestinians and really want a greater Israel, so you have to kind of fire them up for that. But over in America, there are a lot of like well-intentioned anti-racist liberals who are pro-Israel because it's framed to them as like a liberatory thing. So it's difficult to make any propaganda that appeals to both groups, and you get these weird blurring moments where I don't know if you saw the specific Twitter post because it got flamed a lot, but it was some Israeli saying like no apartheid here, and it was a selfie of him at a beach or whatever.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you get these failures of communication where it's like, bro, you are out of the 1950s in America. You could say any of this shit during Jim Crow, and you would be landing the same beats. Sorry, I didn't mean to pick up. No. It's just crazy to me, I guess.
Can you just imagine if I took my phone, because we're in New York right now, right? What if I took my phone and we went to the projects, and I'm like, there's no projects here, and we're like walking through the
systemic racism. My Uber driver.
My Uber driver was X, Y, and Z that drove me here. Where are the projects? Everyone here is living really nicely, and they all seemingly have houses and stuff like that. No, it's just so stupid.
Well, I don't think it would count as the projects, but in terms of like structured housing, the Co-op City was pretty cool.
Oh my God, yeah, Chad, do you guys know about Co-op City?
I didn't. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't know about this.
I didn't know about Co-op City either.
Should
we explain what Co-op City is?
We were driving down the freeway and I just saw like the skyline of these. They looked like commie blocks to me, like big Soviet housing blocks. And I asked about them, and I guess like since the 70s, it's just been an effort to like, I don't know if it was cooperative initially or if it got bought out and like partitioned at some point, but now it's like collectively owned by the people who live there. It's like a mini community. It's affordable. It looked really cute.
It was so cute. It was so. I believe it was. It turned into like a city initiative when New York in the 70s. That's what I read on Wikipedia. Don't quote me on this, okay?
Better than my knowledge. Yeah. It's Wikipedia me on.
Yeah, no, you're fine. But it was so cool because it's like it's a block of apartments, right? But they have schools like middle school, grade school, high school. They have doctors, dentist offices, offices, grocery stores. It's like a whole little community. I believe was it outside the Bronx or inside the Bronx or outskirts? I think it was like outskirts.
Just on the outskirts?
Chat,
you can Google it, chat. You're literally at a computer right now. You can look at it. It's really cool looking.
Y'all do it. I feel crippled. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like I'm missing something without being able to read.
No, we are. We're a DJ who's like directing other people to move the switches from the other side of a wall.
Oh my God.
It's unnerving.
Yeah, they were talking a lot about your legs, though. I will say, they were like, "Oh my God, Vaush has legs."
I think that I don't go outside much. I think that the symbol we were given a second ago was that we have to wrap it up.
Oh yes, they did give us the wrap-up signal. Yeah, they're about to boot me.
That's me sort of peering behind the curtain there and showing off. Genuinely, like, it's been a delight to meet you.
Oh my God, yeah, of course. I mean, we've been mutuals for a while now, but it's so nice to actually meet you in person, and it's been a pleasure being on your stream. I hope they didn't flame us.
I'm sure they've been lovely. You're here for the full thing, right? Lunch, dinner tomorrow, the canvas. Okay, good.
I'll
Then
be
I'll
here. Yeah. You'll see me, and all right, chat. It was nice meeting you guys. My name's Ari. Huh? Oh, okay. ArianaJasmine on everything. So Ariana and then Jasmine, Jasmine. I know it's basic, but I'm Middle Eastern, and I kind of wanted to play on to the Princess Jasmine thing. Honestly, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but it's been working, so.
I'm white and like 1/4 Irish, and my first online handle was Irish Laddie. So trust me, there
really?
are worse.
No, are you serious?
I'm completely serious. They gave me they asked me to make an email in like 2nd grade computer class, and I stuck with that for way too long.
Well, yours is better. My first email. No. My first email was based on Twilight, so it can't get worse than that.
Twilight's back in vogue now. We're hitting the like.
Really?
Yeah, we're hitting the nostalgia bump. You know.
Oh my God.
Contra did a video defending it.
Yeah.
I think it's back in. You're in.
Ah, okay.
But it dust off the old email handle.
Okay. Well, they're telling me to fuck off now. Okay, it was so nice being here. Thank you so much.
I'll see you constantly.